Hey everyone, we left off yesterday, uh, or with our last video, I should say, with a little bit of a problem, and I mentioned that I wanted to fix that first thing with my next video, and that's what we're going to do today. It turns out I'm trying to keep these videos to about 15 minutes, and that last one went to about 20 minutes, and so I wanted to stop it, and I have not spent the time to learn how to do any video editing, so that's partially my fault, but I will learn that, and so my future videos will be a little bit more clean. But to introduce the problems that we were having yesterday, we wrote some logic um, to determine if rays are equal, and then we said if this Boolean variable was true, then yes, the arrays are equal, but it was printing out no, they aren't equal. I believe if I just run this, you're going to see the all caps, no, they aren't equal. And so pretty right after I stopped the video, I put in a breakpoint and I clicked on debug, and I found my problem pretty quickly. So we go into debug mode here. Um, and we're comparing first array and second array. Well, it's pretty nice here in debug mode. I can look at my variables and see that first array 1 through 10. If I look at second array, I forgot that I changed one of the values to 44, so it actually was not equal. So uh, that was in passing the array elements to a method portion of the video yesterday. So let me stop this execution and go back into the Java view here. And if I just comment out that portion where I make that change, go back to my code. Where is it? Oh, it was down in a method that I wrote. See that right there, my number sub 4. And let me just comment that out. Run it again. Hey, they're equal. So fix the problem just like I hoped I would. And so I'm going to clean up all this stuff from yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and cut that out and put what we're going to talk about today. Got a lot to cover in 15 minutes if we can do it. Let's see where we can get. So finding the highest value in an array. So let me go ahead and declare an array real quick. And one moment here. So I'm just going to throw something in. Random numbers here. Okay, so clearly the highest number is 57, and we'll make one lower number after that just so you can see. We're going to declare a variable called highest. So this is just, every one of these is just a little bit of logic using loops and conditional statements to have some operations, useful, all of these, or most of these are useful array operations. So these are things, a lot of times when you're working with groups of data, certain things that you find yourself doing quite often. So we're going to assign the highest equal to numbers sub 0. So that's just the initial, okay, we're going to start the highest and we're going to say it's at position 0, which is 5. We're going to have a for loop. We're going to start our counter off at 1 since we don't need to evaluate 0. Loop through every element, numbers.length, increment I, and then we just have an if. If numbers sub I is higher than highest, then we reassign highest. So pretty straightforward there. And let's just do a system out print line. a little bit of logic there to find the highest value. Again, when you have a bunch of data, there's always useful operations that you can do. Pulling out the highest value would be one of those. So you can see the highest value is 57. If I added in another number that was 100, print it out. Okay, now finding the lowest value in an array is the next topic, and it's pretty similar, right? So you can, I'm going to use the same numbers array. I'm going to use the same array here. Clean this up. For int I equal to 1, I less than plus plus I. If numbers sub I is now less than lowest, let's go ahead and assign int lowest equals numbers sub 0. And if numbers sub I is less than lowest, then reassign lowest equal to numbers sub I. And so these two functions are obviously pretty similar. And we'll say system out the lowest value is. And so if we kind of scan through here, looks like 1 should be our lowest. Number sub I made a mistake, but it's fixed now. So I said number sub 1. Number sub 1 is 6. That's why I was printing out 6. This needs to be number sub I. Then I get the right output. There we go. Good. Summing the array elements. All right, so let's to have a sum inside of a loop, you need what's called an accumulator. So let's go ahead and make our accumulator called total. And then all we need to do is loop through every element. Total plus equals numbers sub I. The total is so if we add up all these numbers in our head, let's see, 11, 21. Oh, well, I'm not going to add them all to my head. We'll keep it simple. But, you know, 224 if I open up a calculator just to double check, right? 5 plus 6 plus 9 plus 1 plus 32 plus 100 plus 11 plus 57 plus 3. So you can see it's 224. The total is 224. So the program did sum them correctly. To get an average, then you just need to get the sum, which we already have the sum in total. And so I'll create a double to hold the average equals the total, which I declared as an int, divided by numbers.length, which is also an int, which this could, you know, integer division, right? So going back a little while when we talked about integer division, saying that it's a you know, it's a lot of times can produce unwanted results. So a way to fix that is to cast total into a double. That way we don't have integer division over here on the right hand side of the equation. And now if I go ahead and do a printout, the average is at AVG. And now we get a decimal point. You can round that as you need to and use that. So, okay, so the highest, the lowest, the sum, the average. Next concept is a partially filled array. Now, A partially filled array is the theory here is you don't know, you might not know how many elements are going to um, be stored in the array. So, you know, the amount of data that needs to be stored is unknown. So what you typically do is create an array that's pretty large in size. So let's go ahead and create our array called, what we called our first one, numbers array. So we'll say numbers2 equals new int, and we're going to have 100 elements. And so, you know, you might just use a sentinel value in this case to say, okay, continually enter numbers and press -99 to stop, and then put values into each element in the array starting off at 0. So let's go ahead and partially fill an array. So let's do system out. When I'm using keyboard, I need to import scanner here, which I have, but I don't have my scanner object. So let me go ahead and create one of those. Okay, we've got a scanner object. Now it recognizes keyboard. So we go ahead and get a number, and let's use a while loop here. While number is not equal to a -99, and we need a variable for count. We're going to start it off at 0, and count is less than or equal to 99. So, you know, while the user doesn't enter in -99, and while the count is somewhere between 0 and 99, so that we're going to fill up to 100 elements. Array sub count, so the first time through this loop will be array sub 0 equals the number that they type in. Now let's go ahead and increment count so we don't have an infinite loop. And then let's get the input again. System. Now our array. I just said array. Our array is actually called numbers sub 2. That's our array. Increment count system out print line. Actually, I'm just going to copy the input and reassign number. And if I go ahead and run this, you can see I can enter in numbers. -99 to quit. And then in that scenario, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just to demonstrate, if I wanted to output this, so enter a number up to 1, 2, 3, -99. I'm going to get a bunch of zeros here because that's how I coded it, but you can see the first 3 values in the array have values, and the rest of them are zeros. So you might have to say if n is not equal to 0, go ahead and print it out. This would be one way. To only print out the values that are in the partially filled array, not including 0. Um, so that's a good stopping point for today. I did not get to erasing files. We will pick that up tomorrow.